So this is a story I shared a long time ago, and I want to share it again because it's one of those stories that I'm grateful to have been there in the moment, to see what a loving, kind person can do. And I want to share this, and then I'll share a picture of a very precise moment in this video as well. And for the you can probably find another video on this on my channel, but I've got over 700 videos on the channel, 750 right now. So I'm going to do this one now so you guys have an opportunity to hear this story, because it's an amazing story. So I was doing USO shows, and at one point we were performing in Bagram Airfield, Afghanistan. That's right. That's the one that you saw on the news when the Afghan war was ending and they were leaving from Bagram. I was on that base doing USO tours, and we were on the base, and we had a day where we were going to be there and didn't have to perform, but our goal to go on these tours was to bring joy and laughter to people, whoever they were. We didn't care if they were soldiers or Afghanis. We wanted to bring joy and laughter to the country, to the region. And we said, well, we don't have a show. Do you have a hospital we could go visit soldiers who've been hurt? He says, yeah, we can take it to the hospital, but there's no soldiers there. The soldiers all get shipped out to Ramstein in Germany. He says, what we have over there is children who've wandered into minefields. And we said, well, definitely take us. So definitely take us. Our show was a very visual show. So we had a lot of, we had four of us in the show. Two of them were jugglers. We had, all kinds of comedians, and we had one guy with us who was a children's entertainer. I mean, he does library shows all summer long, entertaining children. And he's a children's author as well. So we go over to the hospital, and we go in, and there's only 4 kids in the hospital, and they're bad. Really bad. One of them was burned from head to toe. One of them was really his lower eyelids had been burned off, and take your breath away when you see these kids. It was heartbreaking to see them. And there was this one young girl who had shrapnel marks across her face, and her left hand was in a splint and cast, and her right hand was bandaged from here down, so just this part of the arm. And my friend Todd, if you go to his website, toddkeyjuggles.com, you'll see his joyful face. He has this twinkly eye thing he does when he sees kids. He looks at them and he's and he gives them the twinkly eye. And this little girl's looking at him, and he's totally engaging her, not really saying a word. And he reaches into his bag of tricks and he pulls out a rubber ball. And he throws this ball up in the air, and he catches it on his finger, and it's just sitting there and spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning, spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning. And she's just amazed that he's being able to spin this ball like this. So he points at her arm, her one arm with the bandage, and he tells her to put her finger up. He gestures, and she puts her finger up. And he throws the ball up in the air, he catches it on his finger, he grabs her finger, he sets the ball on her finger, and she sits there, and the ball continues to spin on her finger. And she's amazed. So then they're joking back and forth, they're a little juggling, and he's talking to her. And then he reaches into his bag of tricks, and he pulls out a rope, a short rope. It's about 2 feet long, 2.5 feet long. And he starts just swinging this rope back and forth. And suddenly, with one hand, he throws the other end of the rope up in the air, and he ties it into a knot in midair. It's a fun little magic trick thing, right? He's like, boom, and it's tied into a knot. She's like amazed, blown away. So he looks back, he looks at her with a twinkle in the eye, and he looks in his bag and he pulls out a second rope and he hands it to her. And the two of them are sitting there doing this, and she's trying to do it, and she's trying to do it. And finally he goes around behind her and he takes her by the wrist and he gets her to rock it, and he shows her how to tie the knot in the air with this little piece of rope. And she does it, and the place goes crazy. You know, not only the kids were there, but their families were there. They were laughing, they were smiling. I have a beautiful picture of many of these men just laughing and smiling with her. And she's sitting there, she's got a big smile on her face. And all of the doctors and nurses are standing there as well. And it's just a beautiful image. And it's the moment he's first placed the ball on her finger. As we left the hospital that day, doctor walked up to us. He says, gentlemen, I just want to thank you guys for coming over here. We don't get to see a lot of entertainers over here, but I wanted to just tell you, you know, the effect of what you do. He says, and he tells us the girl's name, and I don't remember her name, but he says she's been with us for 6 weeks, and she's terrified, and she won't let any of us touch her arms when she's awake. He says, so the only time we get blood pressure is when she's sleeping. He says, so we've never been able to get it and have her just volunteer to let us do it, you know, while she's awake. She says, right after you guys finished, we took her blood pressure for the first time, and she let us. She says, that's the effect that you have. By coming here and just doing what you just did, you've made it okay. You've made it so that she can be comfortable with us. And, you know, thank you so much for coming and doing what you're doing. But I want you to think about that moment. They weren't speaking the same language. They didn't speak, she didn't speak English, he didn't speak Afghani. Right? They didn't speak the same language. All they did was communicated through smiles and gestures, and they had this loving, joyful, fun moment. And in that loving, joyful, fun moment, a healing was occurring, an emotional healing. Healings don't have to be just physical. Emotional healings are just as valid, because all healing is done through belief, and all emotional traumas are also belief. And in this situation, by seeing it was okay to be with this funny American guy tying ropes in the air, it changed her entire perspective. And I'm going to share this picture of Todd with this ball. Like I said, I may have already done it in this video, but I want to share it again because I just want you to see all the smiles on all the faces, and realize the one face you don't see in this picture is me, because I'm taking the picture. I'm behind the camera. So you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Bye. Thank you so much for watching. The John of New channel is solely funded by your generous donations and purchases of private readings and merchandise. To help out, go to johnofnew.com or use the donation link in the description below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.